How is it going, everyone? Welcome back to another very cool video because I haven't done one of these videos in a bit, or really in a long time, and I'm very happy that I'm doing it now because this is one of the knives that I've wanted for a very, very long time, and that is one of these bad boys. Now, I won't discuss what it is until I've told you why I've wanted it. So, for those of you who don't remember, I used to have a Squid Industries Squid Trainer V2.5, and I ended up trading it for my Max Ace Serpent, and I still value that trade. I mean, that was a very nice trade. It was my first bearing knife, um, and it was cool. It was cool and fun. But I ended up getting rid of my Squid Trainer, which I really liked. It was one of the main reasons why I love Squid Industries for what they were, because the Squid Trainer was just so good. So a couple months ended up going by, and I don't really quite remember when they released this one. But ever since they released it, I've wanted it for so long. This specific one exactly. So yeah, I've recently gotten a lot of money after deciding to sell a few knives. I had a little bit more money to spend, and I was waiting for a drop. So I was deciding between a Kirot and a Kirot 2 or Kirot 2 latchless versus a Kraken. And a lot of you said we're in favor of Kraken, and I still was pushing towards the Kirot because at the time the Kirot was in stock, and I think it still is. And the at the time it was still like 1 week before a drop. I mean, Squid before told me that the next drop would be in like 4 weeks. I already had enough money like 4 weeks ago for this one in particular, but I ended up selling off my clone that I had for an extra $50, so I decided to get more. I just got more money. So my budget was a little bigger, and I was looking, and at the time I had enough money for people to actually be okay with my offer. I was looking at a bunch of other Krakens, like gunmetal Krakens, the Bowie Kraken, I think one of them was. And in fact, one of these I looked at too, but it sold too quickly for me, and the guy wouldn't take my offer because he was price gouging a little bit. But anyways, I ended up waiting like about another week, and I was scrolling through the sale page, and I saw a post that striked my interest. And I ended up being the first one to like the photo, the first one to message him, and the first one to comment DM'd. And we ended up doing the deal. So I paid a little bit more than I should have, like a couple bucks more than I should have, but I really, really wanted this thing. Hold on, let me go on Blade HQ really quick and show you guys how much these cost. So you guys probably already know which one it is, but I want to make sure I'm getting the prices right. So I believe the drop was supposed to be today when I ended up getting it. So if I just scroll down here, all right, let's see here. All right, that's the inked version. Okay, so it says here they're out of stock. Okay, so these were ended up, so this particular one I have here, the price on Blade HQ was $238.99. I ended up paying $230 for it. And partially is because the guy thought there was like some tap and play. But part of me thought that there was part of me that thought that he didn't torque it down a little bit more. And don't worry, sorry about that. Don't worry, the tap and play is fixed. I really didn't have to do anything to it, thank God. Only just have to tighten down the pivots and give it some KPL, and it's all good. So anyways, let's get into the unboxing experience. So this is the box that it comes in. I believe they do something similar or along the lines of like similar for the Nautilus. I'm not quite sure. I don't have one. So this is it right here. This is the Squid Industries box. I'm going to open it up off screen just so I can get to the little things first. So they include 2 cards here, as you can see. Here's a card. Back on the back, we have a squid trainer. And there's like a warranty and maintenance tips along with it. This is something pretty cool. And I just realized that these are the exact same cards. So yeah, they usually include some maintenance tips on them. They suggest that you use a T10 Torx driver for assembly and reassembly. And they do arrive thread locked. Thread locker may cause the pivots to freely spin during disassembly, preventing you from removing the screws. But they have a whole video on their YouTube channel, so you guys can check that out. And along with that, they have a sticker. This is a bit different than the other Squid Industry sticker. Some of you may remember this one. This one I got with my squid trainer. This is a bit different. It's a little bit more casual. So pretty cool. Let me just see if there's anything else. All right. And then this is what the knife sits on, but that's just foam. So anyways, let me package the package up and set it aside really quick. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the Squid Industries Kraken, or specifically the Raken, as they have to call it. But this is the silver matte Raken, and it is absolutely magnificent. I mean, this is a really, really freaking nice knife. So anyways, I'm just going to do a quick overview. I'm just going to give you guys my first impressions on it, not my full review yet. So anyways, so this is a Zenpin construction knife with a nice Tanto blade. I wanted the Tanto blade specifically because at the time I was looking for one. The Bowie Kraken had recently come out. So let me give you guys some specifications here. So yeah, I'll start off with the blade. So the overall length of this is 10.125 inches. So pretty big knife overall, and you can definitely feel that when holding this thing in my hand. I mean, this is a pretty big knife. Probably not as big as my old Demon, but don't worry, that's not in my collection anymore. The blade length is 4.50 inches. The blade width is 0.75 inches. Oh, no, that's this way. The blade thickness, which is this way, is 0.12 inches. So pretty thin blade overall. And the blade material is AEB-L. This is actually the first time I've ever heard of this steel is with the Kraken. I'm not quite sure if they're using this on the Bowie as well. I imagine they are, though. Of course, this is the Tanto variant, as I just showed you. The blade grind is flat. The finish is satin. The edge is plain. Moving on to the handles, it is 5.625 inches overall. The handle width is 1.45 inches. I'm looking at Blade HQ specifications here. And the handle thickness is 0.50 inches. Now, what makes this interesting is the handles. The handles are channel construction aluminum, and they have a sort of like milled finish. You can't really see it that well. Maybe you can see it if I just... There, it was there for a second, but you guys, everyone knows what these finishes have on it. So it's sort of like a milled finish on here, and it's actually pretty grippy. It's not too grippy. It reminds me a good amount of my squid trainer, which is nice. In a live blade, I would want something like this. The overall weight is 4.33 ounces, so not too heavy, not too light, and that's pretty darn nice for what you're getting at. I haven't compared this to anything yet, but overall, it's not too heavy, not too light of what I held. And that's about it. Oh, it is using bushings and washers. You can sort of see that in here, if it would focus. You can sort of see that. You can't really see it, but yeah. It's using bushings and washers. Now, Squid Industries hasn't really done many knives with bushings. In fact, the Kraken is their second overall production knife to have bushings on it. The first one being the Nautilus. And I've seen a lot of those have like tap and play. But some of those are really just beaten to the shit. And some of these I've seen are absolutely reliable. People will beat them and they still will not have any tap or play. Now he discussed to me that there was like some tap and play. However, after tuning it, there is no tap and play. I mean, there is like a little bit of play, but it's about like that much. Very unnoticeable, but pretty darn nice. So let me just bring you guys in a little bit more. Oh, there you go. You can sort of see the finish a little better. If it would have kept focusing again. So it has like a milled finish on the knife, and it's pretty darn like fine milling. And I know this stuff is pretty hard. I've seen it done before. So this takes some time. So it's nice texture. It's not too grippy, but it's still pretty darn nice. So anyways, on the side here is a grip as well. So as you can see, there are some like milling like lines here. That is some gripping as well. It's not just on the outside, it's also on the inside. It's on both sides of the handles. As you can see here, there's the outside and here's the inside. And this is to help like things that are in the lower side of the handle, like choker fans. I mean, this thing just choker fans really well. And that grip down there really does help. The aluminum, I know a lot of people might have complained at first about the choice of doing aluminum, but that is what Squid Industries really does best, is their channel aluminum. And honestly, most of their knives really don't disappoint. When my Squiddy at the time didn't really disappoint me because I knew what it was going to be, which is a plastic channel trainer. So that didn't really disappoint me because it was overall pretty good quality for what you're getting. The Squid Trainer didn't disappoint at all because I had really overall positive review over it. And I'm still going to be flipping this just to give you guys a little bit more detail on this, but this has honestly been a really very nice knife to flip. And for their first attempt at a live blade, they hit it out of the ballpark. I mean, this is a really well done thing. These do have like pressed Zen pins, as you can see, and honestly, that's something that I really like about this knife, is because I don't have to tune the Zen pins at all or worry about the Zen pin screws snapping. That is something that I do worry about, is because the Zen pin screws can be thin sometimes. But that is something on this knife I do not have to worry about, which is really, really darn nice. The black hardware, I think, doesn't really go as well with the knife, but that's sort of my personal opinion. So this is a Zen pin knife, and there are a few problems with Zen pin knives nowadays, is the fact that people are always getting pinched by these Zen pin knives and complaining about it. I did notice that this is a little sharper than some of the other Zen pin knives that I have, but honestly, it's not terribly intolerable. I mean, this thing is, the Zen pins on here are fine. They're perfectly comfortable. I mean, over time, you're going to get used to it. Like this, my old Squid Trainer, that thing had a really big Zen pin nipple. So yeah, it's really freaking nice. I'm saying freaking nice so much. It is slightly chamfered on the top. So I guess it's not really that sharp. But for those of you who do care about this stuff, mine does happen to be a first production run. Oop, there's some oil on it. Mine is a first production. 434 is what it said. It is a first production run. So if any of you cared about that, I personally do not care about the numbers, or if it was I kind of care if it was a first production, because I don't know if that raises the value of it up. I don't care about the numbers, because in the end, I'm going to be flipping this and having fun with it. So yeah, back what I was saying, the choice of aluminum is actually pretty good because this is sort of like their premium area, and with their premium area, they changed up the type of aluminum from 661 aluminum, which is a welding aluminum, which is why it's so soft and not exactly durable, or as durable as some of the competition you would see, like Sfixco. This is actually using 7075 aluminum. Now, I personally am hopefully not going to be flipping this on concrete, just because this is my first Kraken and I want to keep it nice. And I don't really tend to beat my knives. I just flip them over like my mattress or carpet or something, and that is where I flip. So yeah, moving on, we have the design of handles here. Now, I really like this just because I just sort of dig the design. It's very simple, very minimalist, but still has a very creative look to it. And overall, I think this is a really beautiful knife when you get down to it. So another little thing to note is that the channel does widen out starting here, so it prevents tap and blade rub, which is another good thing that they're doing. Another thing I do want to say is with KPL, this is one of the best sounding knives in my collection, and I don't know. I think at this point my Alpha Beast and the Kraken are sort of neck and neck because this knife sounds absolutely amazing. It almost sounds very close, resembling to titanium, which is very odd because Squid Industries can do this to aluminum. It's very, very interesting because most of the time you hear just like clunky chunk, like tactile chunk, clunk, clinking noises from aluminum. This has like a very soft ting or tang, which is very cool, and not many aluminum knives do that, and that is very awesome. It does have that tactile clack that aluminum knives do have, but it sort of combines it with the low tone ting or tang, and it overall is like a beautiful symphony at the end. And honestly, on its own, it's not that bad either. I mean, if you really don't care how it sounds, that's completely fine. It flips great either way. Speaking of which, this thing flips great. I mean, when I picked this up, it did not fail. I mean, it kept flipping. It did not fall out of my hand, which was really weird because usually when I get a new knife, even with the Alpha Beast, there was sort of like a adjustment period. This did not have that, which really shocked me, and is why I can't really express my full opinion on it at the moment, because I have yet to find a con on this knife, other than the Zemping being a little sharp. But for the price point, this knife is a must buy. I mean, save up your money and buy this thing. You will not regret it. I've also talked to Squid Industries because when the guy told me there was tap and play, I asked them what are some things I can do to fix the tap and play, and they said that you could send it in to them if you had the warranty. So you can send them an email with the warranty, and you can send it in, and they can fix the bushings and get you new washers or something. I believe you can also buy some hardware kits, maybe for some new washers or something. I haven't quite bought them yet, which I don't think I will at the moment. But there's also modders in the community who are doing bushing services for a pretty cheap price, so you can always hit them up and get some bushings fixed. But overall, I did not have to do anything. I just had to tighten down the pivots a little more, and it was pretty pristine and awesome to flip. So Squid Industries did an absolutely great job so far. They did an absolutely great job on this knife. It's for the price point, it's a must buy and something that people can't miss on, which is also why they are in very high demand right now. I've seen many wanting to buy posts about these things. In fact, I've made my own. Um, this knife, I can't express how great it is because it takes the greatness of Squid Industries handles, a bushing system, and something that a community has been wanting from Squid Industries for a long time, a live blade, combining that and just making an absolutely amazing knife. And Squid Industries couldn't have done it well. I have not touched a Bowie yet. I hope to try one at least just to see if there is any difference. But so far, this is probably one of my favorite knives that I've ever touched, and this will most definitely be staying in my collection for a really, really long time. Um, and I can't begin to describe how good it is. Another thing is, it's not latchless. It's not latchless. What was I saying? It is latchless. There is no like slot or anything, so completely latchless. You don't have to worry about taking out a latch, which is really, really awesome. I didn't have to worry about that in my Alpha Beast either, but some knives you have to worry about that. I occasionally get strip screws like I did on my 51. But again, this knife is absolutely amazing. And they're pretty cheap for what they are, which is why I think they stick to aluminum so that they keep the price low rather than going to titanium, having the price be in the 300s. I've seen these knives go for over 300, which is a little strange. But those are the ones that are like anodized, the gunmetal, the dual tone stuff, the inked dual tone, the special gunmetal Tonto series they did. But honestly, this, if you just get one of these silver matte ones, it's worth it. And honestly, I think it would be better without an ano, just because it's a little less slippery. So, anyways, this was a long video because I was gushing about this knife. Not only on my story on my Instagram, which is Banzo no capital B underscore flips with a Z. So check it out if you want to see some flips with a Kraken or some sound tests. So thank you guys for watching. Peace out.